Good morning, good morning. It's Pause with Elizabeth Elenor. How are you today? Let's see if I can see this on my thing as well to make sure that I'm here. Yes, I am. Would love for you to say hi in the chat if you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, would love for you to put hashtag replay. So today we've got something really exciting. Good morning, Marianne. We've got some really exciting stuff to talk about because I'm sort of launching into something brand new and different. It's part of my evolution, and we're going to be talking about wild leadership. So I want you to have a think, like pause and reflect. What does wild leadership mean to you? And throw it in the comments if you, what does it conjure up when you think about wild leadership? Because, you know, us women, we have been, we've been conditioned, right? We've been conditioned to be good girls. We've been conditioned to be people pleasers. We've been conditioned not to shine too brightly because it's not safe. And when you look out in nature, and you see those packs of wolves, you know, like, and you know, the beautiful lioness that's out there, you know, defending her cubs and you know, being this fierce and aggressive animal, to look after and support her family, to create boundaries, to you know, feed her young, all of these things to create, you know, tribal conditioning, you know, so that everyone's safe in the community. And sometimes that, you know, it doesn't have to be wild, doesn't have to be aggressive or fierce. It can be just this empowered strength, living in your innate wisdom, living in your courage, in your vulnerability, in your authenticity, living in who you truly are deep within. And all of us have our own unique style, our own unique way of being. And some of us have a softer, gentler nature and a softer, gentler persona, and others can, you know, we are conditioned, or we're, you know, we experience ourselves as being maybe more forthright and more, for want of a better word, aggressive in our way of being. Whoever it is that you are internally, there's this internal leader within you that has a wild nature, right? And sometimes that wild nature might be gentle and soft and, you know, strong and grounded and just knows herself, right? And other, you know, that other, you know, true being, some of us have a more, you know, motivated, more pushing, more energetic, you know, strong stance of this is who I am, and I'm prepared to share with you and show you how my world looks, right? So the world's changing, and why does old-fashioned leadership is not enough? The world is changing, and you know, for some it can be very uncertain what's going on, and how we, you know, how it's going to affect us. And so the world really needs wild leaders. The world needs leaders that are prepared to step into their courage, to you know, hold themselves and their boundaries strong, and speak their truth from, you know, from their heart, and from, you know, total connection with themselves and their inner wisdom, so that they can actually, you know, make a difference in their world, right? So courage is a really important part of being wild, and, you know, standing strong in who you are, knowing what your boundaries are, knowing what the conditions are and the definitions of yourself and your surroundings, so that you know what feels right and what doesn't feel right in your world, and you're prepared to act on it, to be able to support your community, your family, whatever it might be, your personal space, right? On top of that, we've got vulnerability, right? Being prepared to see the true self and know that there's flaws, and know that that's okay. Sometimes, you know, like most of us know that it's not a weakness, it's a strength to show our vulnerability and to show the innocence that we can have, right? Because the innocence is a superpower, actually. So it's not weak to show our vulnerability, but it's a strength, right? Authenticity, being strong and standing for what you believe in, speaking your truth, sharing that with the world, instead of feeling that you don't have a voice and not speaking your truth, right? So being a leader and bringing out that wild nature is a really important part. It's time for us women to really step in and take ownership of that wild aspect of ourselves, the woman inside that has been conditioned to be a good girl, conditioned to be a people pleaser, conditioned to not speak a truth in case it, you know, rocks the boat, conditioned to get triggered and feel like a victim sometimes, emotionally suppressed, whatever it might be, you know, for you. I want you to look at what's underneath all of that conditioning and all of the traumas that we've experienced, and step into taking ownership and looking at what's underneath. What is my wild nature, and how do we adapt and innovate and inspire others, so that we are living that authentic truth of who we are. So if you are in a world where you are a businesswoman, or you know, you may be in some sort of career where you've got some sort of leadership role, I want you to reflect for a moment. Am I leading from my conditioning, or from the structures that have been placed on me in my environment? And are those things limiting me in some way? How are you being limited by your environment, by some of your beliefs that you might still be holding on to from your childhood or family dynamics? I know one of my clients, she's got, I think she's got 4 brothers, and she's the only daughter. And in her family, all of the men own their own businesses, and the women work for a living with a job, which is the other way around almost in our family, in my family, where the women are the ones that own their own business and the men are working in a job. So you see how we can have beliefs that become layered patterns within our own culture, within our own community, within our own family, right? I just got a frog in my throat. And so to embrace that wildness and step in, what is it that you really, you know, feel that you came onto the planet for here? If you're watching this then you're watching it on one of my platforms, right? Whether it be Women of Light, the business page of Elizabeth Elenor, the Spiritual Warrior, which is actually about to change, by the way, or you might be watching it on my own personal profile. And there's a reason that you're here on the planet right now, right? We have come down at this time and space to make our mark, to live our purpose, to move the needle from the old way of being and the old way of, the old conditions of being human. We're starting to open up and recognize ourselves as powerful creators, and that we're actually either living in the past and creating from our unconscious, or we're actually getting the opportunity to recognize that we can pluck whatever we want to from the field of all information and choose to step up and be that powerful creator and personally create what you feel like, the longing, that gut feeling that you're here to be. It may be that you're here to be a powerful influencer of your children. It may be that you're here to be a powerful influencer to your community. It might be that you're here to be a powerful influencer of a wider audience. You may be in some sort of business of your own, or in a leadership role of some sort, in whatever it might be. Us women are here to make a difference and to speak our truth and to share our love and our wisdom, because women are innately nurturing. We've got this very gentle aspect to us of holding space for the community, holding space for those that are around us, and giving people the ability, the opportunity to grow and expand as an individual and be unique within that individual nature of someone, right? So we're really good at holding space for someone to learn and grow and expand into who they are. However, if we're struggling ourselves with conditions from our childhood, generational information that's caught up in our DNA of who we have to be, the culture, the society of, if we get caught up in hearing the narrative at the moment that the world's going, crumbling, or whatever it might be that you're holding on to or you're listening to, that's holding you back from really shining your light and being, the wild leader that you are, then it's something that if you're struggling in any way to really step into owning yourself and your uniqueness and your authentic purpose, then that can hold you back from serving at your highest, being able to be capable to fulfill that purpose that you came here for, right? So I want you to think about that and reflect, where is it that I am holding back? What's holding me back? The resistance of not being able to shine my light completely. What relationships may I be in that are holding me back, that no longer serve me? What beliefs do I have about myself, about others, about the world, that may be holding me back from achieving the goals that I want to create, right? What are some of the emotions that I get triggered when someone does this? All of a sudden I'm doing that, right? And I get triggered by something and I can't, control it. What are some of the conditions that you believe need to be conducive to you stepping out and leading in whatever role you have? What are some of the conditions that you believe that you need to, because often we think, I'll do this when I get that. I'll be able to be, an influencer in my community, in my business, when I get more money, right? Or when I have the time, or when I get a certain amount of followers, or whatever it might be. What is it that you feel like you need as a condition to achieve the goals that you want to as a wild leader? So what does it mean to embrace your inner wildness? There's so many different facets and aspects to who we are, and it's really about self-awareness and radical self-responsibility, right? It's one of the things my business mentor says all the time: radical self-responsibility. And if you have been, all of those things that you may have just written down, all of the things that are keeping you limited in some way in your current reality, from really stepping in to embracing that wildness, that inner wildness, and living that and expressing that as truth for yourself. If you have got anything that's holding you back, then it's really challenging and hard to live that purpose that you know that you came to do and experience when you've got these limitations that are holding you back in this current reality, right? It's almost like pulling you backwards. So here you are, this is what I want to create, and this is what I know I'm here for, is to be a powerful advocate for women, or to sell my amazing product, or to raise my children to be wild leaders themselves, or whatever it might be, like to eat quality, nutritious food that you've grown yourself, whatever it might be. There's often something on the other side of that pulling you back, like a belief system that you're not good enough, or that you're not capable of doing it. You're not significant enough to speak your truth and to be seen and heard. You've got all these, but this is what happened to me when I was a child, or whatever it might be, right? There's all of this stuff that your unconscious will come up with that pull you back away from what it is that you want to create. And so as you're moving closer, it feels like you've got this big brick, like this boulder or something chained to your foot as you're pulling towards what it is that you want to create. And in that pulling, you're feeling all of this resistance, right? However, I want to share with you that at the end of the month, so in about 2 weeks' time, we will be hosting a wild leadership mini work course, like just a mastermind. It's going to be just over an hour, and we're going to talk about what it means to be a wild leader. What does it mean to hold your own boundaries, to be able to speak your truth with authenticity, to feel vulnerable and be able to express that, to step up and take the motivated action that you require, to really hold the tension between what it is that you want to create and where you are now, and to be stepping bravely through those steps without that resistance, but just flowing really gently towards what it is that you want to create. So we're going to be talking about that on, I think it's the 27th is our course, it's a free workshop, Wild Leadership. And we're going to be doing a mini recode at the end of that process. So a recode is a way of clearing that resistance, taking the codes out that are causing the resistance in the first place, taking them out from the source of where they came from originally, and shifting them so that they've neutralized in your system. They're no longer a charge, they're not holding you back, they're not holding you in resistance, and you can really flow in your magical creation. You can be stepping closer and closer. So basically it's like collapsing time, so that we're clearing the resistance to what it is that you want to create. So if you're interested in finding out more about our event coming up on the 27th, it's in the evening in Sydney time, then just put a yes please in the comments below, and we will send you the link so that you can see where it is that you are not in alignment with, hey Melita, where you're not in alignment with being your own wild leader, the internal aspect of yourself, and stepping into that and making actionable steps, right? So that's me. That's the end of my pause. I'd love for you to reflect. What is it that you would love to create? What is what's holding you back from that? What are some of the things that you feel is innately wild about you? What are some of the things that are holding you back from expressing your wildness? If you're interested in our Wild Leadership event coming up on the 27th, throw it a yes please into the chat and we will send you the link. Enjoy all of your week, and we will catch up soon. Take care.